Not only won the Passion Award this year, but he exudes that passion just like Adrian exuded her passion. He's going to talk to you now, the clicker is right there on that little sheet, Eric. He's going to talk to you now about power. And the reason why I chose Eric, because he has a subtle, energizing power that comes out of growing to become a leader and spreading those wings to be able to do that. And so I want him to share with you. I'm excited for him to bring it to the stage right now because he knows what I'm talking about. Help me welcome Dr. Eric Glass.
All right. I'm not sure how subtle you can be at 6'3", 220 pounds, but I'll at least try to be subtle and bring that subtle energy. Are you Heidi?
Yes.
You have my, I'm up there right there. All right. So we talk about this idea of power, and we think about kind of a universal intelligence, a universal power that's beyond us. You know, we kind of look outside of ourselves for that power. But the power that I want to really talk about more so is the power that's within us. It's kind of the exact same energy, the exact same power that's out there, but it's a matter of actually tapping into that and utilizing the same power that we see throughout the entire world and throughout the universe and just making sure that it exudes forth from us. So I think one of the very first things, there's different things of power, different types of power that we have to look at. And one here is the power to accept. I think if we're going to make a positive change after you leave here and leave this event and go home and start to look through your notes and start to look at what's our practice going to do different, what am I going to do differently as an individual, then we have to accept first where we came from and where we are. So this probably is going to sound familiar to most of you. I'm not sure if any other schools were like this, but Logan College had a tendency to, this is as a chiropractic student, had a tendency to use canned notes. Anybody use canned notes? To the point now where I think every single trimester has their own website. You don't even go to class if you didn't have an attendance policy. Like you can actually just go to your website, download every note from every class, and take all your tests, right? And then you look at the idea of these things called ponies. Does anybody here know what ponies are?
No.
What's a pony, Nick?
Pass on to next year.
Yeah, passed on next year. So it's an old test, right? The trimester before you, somebody somehow got it out of her, I don't know. But they are everywhere at Logan College. So maybe we're the only ones that do this, but that's basically how studying takes place. And my point in this being that at some point, we have to start becoming self-reliant. At some point, we have to trust our own instinct and not what other people are doing. But our background says that that's what we've done in the past. We kind of looked at somebody else's notes. We looked at what other teachers were telling us in school and said, I'm going to go into this PI direction. I'm going to go into sports injury because that teacher or that field doctor, that person was really, really cool, right? Had a cool personality. So then we get out into practice and everything's going to change, right? Or we just start to look at the yellow page ads and we look at the newspaper and we say, what's the competition up to, right? What are they doing? I wonder what's working for them. I wonder if they're doing laser, then maybe I should do laser. You may not have any passion whatsoever for laser, but they did it and it was successful. You ever heard of the thing called the HCG diet? I mean, you talk about something that they did it successfully, so now I can make money on it, but you may have no passion whatsoever for weight loss, right? And I know that some of the people in this room utilize these things, but it's what's the competition doing? And we still haven't completely discerned at that point yet, what is it that I'm passionate about? What do I love, right? It's what works for somebody else. So we look at the idea of, we think that we can say, oh, here's what Lyle Kocha does. Here's what Troy Dukowitz does. Here's what some of these successful doctors, Terry McCoskey does. And we can do those things, and then therefore we're successful. Right? We have that belief system, and so we go to all of these seminars, and we hear these amazing speakers speak, and there are things that take away from them, but we're still not self-reliant at that point. We're still saying if we can do those things. What we fail to realize is who these people are being when they're in their office. But more importantly, who are these people being when they're outside of their office? Lyle doesn't just do this whole morning routine. Troy doesn't just do this whole morning routine. This is who they are. This is just the lifestyle that they live. It's a part of who they already are in the first place. And so the idea of standing on the shoulders of giants isn't to catch a free ride. The idea of standing on the shoulders of giants is because the view's a little bit more clear. They've done the legwork. Troy and I were talking about this concept, and he said one of his favorite things that Jim Tempo says is most of the pioneers are laying face down with an arrow in their back. So go ahead and move on and move past that, right? Because we still have to take those mistakes they've made, but still do it in our way. Do what's important to us and figure it out for ourselves. And I think that Matt is a perfect example back there, right? He works with Lyle Kocha in a high-volume office, yet Matt got to walk up here yesterday as Chiropractor of the Year for CAS on his own. And I think that's an incredible thing. He's not just going, I'm going to write on Lyle's coattails. He's saying, I have my patients, and I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to address them, and I'm going to make sure that they understand that I'm the authority when it comes to their chiropractic care. So I think that's really cool. You know, the idea of the pole at TS, Troy doesn't coach you up to the pole at TS so that you can see the pretty mountains out there. He coaches you up there because he wants you to stand up there and look beyond those mountains, out to this universe, out to this power that's out there, and figuratively kind of take this leap out into it, right? So that you can be better than who you already were. Not so you can be better than him, or you can be as good as him, but better than who you were before you started climbing up that pole. So we've accepted where we are, and we start to move forward from there. And I think one of the places to look is this power that we see within the universe. And I had a video here kind of about the abundance and the power that we see in nature. Do we have it? And if we don't, it's not that big of a deal. And I'll give you the idea of what I'm looking at here. But how many of you ever just, in the middle of the summertime, on one of those clear days, you ever just stop and go outside and get far enough away from the city where you can actually look up and just see the vastness of space? And look at the Milky Way and realize that they're not just little twinkling lights up there, but that those are separate solar systems. Every single one of them. Those are suns. Most of them are, many of them bigger than ours, with planets rotating around them. And it goes on and on and on. And the interesting thing about that vastness is it's not staying still. It's actually expanding day after day after day. It's getting bigger and bigger. And so there's such a huge power out there. And we talk about being incredibly small compared to that. But really the cool thing about that is we're really just a part of it. You know, we may be tiny, we may be a speck in all of that, but we can tap into that same thing. And I think Wayne Dyer says it best here when he says, abundance is not something we acquire. It's not an